So hello everyone. So today we have another student and we will have another one joining soon. So we have Nikunj Tyagi. He's a founder of libraryCreate. And this is like um, this is the initiative from libraryCreate called Dialogue. So we are in our ninth episode or ninth session. So today Nikunj and Aman. So Aman is a student from Berkeley, and Nikunj is from University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign, which is in Illinois. So these two students are studying also the computer science here, um, and they are in their sophomore or second year. So they will share their experience, but also I think Nikunj, you're gonna talk about the entrepreneurial skills and also the startups, right? How do we do it, and what
Yeah.
students should do for it. So with that, I'll hand it over to you, and you can start from there.
Yeah, cool. How's it going, guys? Cool. Yeah, so I'll introduce myself real quick. So I'm Nikunj. So yeah, I'm a college student just like you guys, studying computer science at U of I. And yeah, I mean, we basically started libraryCreate as like an organization to help kids out in India with reading and books because that's not a huge thing that like a huge part of the culture that we saw there. But yeah, today I'll just talk to you guys about like my overall journey that I've kind of had through a young age, along with one of my friends who will be joining soon. And then we can kind of have a discussion about some questions you guys have for me, and I'll ask you guys about questions because I mean, it's a pretty different world being a college student here or there. I think it'll be cool for all of us to kind of get to know each other through that. So I put together a few slides, nothing too special, but just so you guys can get some context. I'll share them right now. So we can kind of get started like where I grew up and kind of like where I started my entire like life and school and stuff. So I was raised in Aurora right here, which is like pretty close to Chicago. It's about 30 minutes away from Chicago in the state of Illinois. And so where we grew up, it's a pretty like rural area, but it's like close to a big city as well. So we call that like suburban. So there's a lot of neighborhoods, a lot of people that commute to Chicago every day, basically. So high school was like made up of a lot of people that are interested in technology. So from a young age, we were really it enabled us to see like what was big in tech, starting like whether it was engineering or computer science. We kind of started to see like what people were working in, what people were involved in, and what kind of helped people live comfortable lives. So every time we would go to Chicago, which was like it's like a huge city, right? Like third biggest city in the U.S. Every time we go to Chicago, it'd be like a fun little trip for us, and we'd see like all the big buildings. Yeah, I mean, it's a great city and kind of great environment to grow up in, I'd say. Um, so this is where I go now, as I mentioned, UIUC, which is University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. So in the other slide, so this is kind of where I grew up, near this lake right here, in the upper right corner of Illinois. But my college is right here, so that's in the southern part of Illinois, basically. But at U of I'm studying computer science now, and it's been a pretty cool experience. I never wanted to do computer science originally. Originally, I wanted to go into like more like chemical engineering and stuff, but decided to stick with CS. And yeah, it's been pretty good so far. I've been learning a lot of cool stuff. Whether it's like machine learning or AI, which is kind of like a hot topic right now, but also learning about like cool like low level programming stuff. So like systems design and like IoT networking, that sort of stuff is also really interesting to me. So I don't know. I'm just kind of taking these few years as like experimentation time to kind of like find new friends, like meet new people, and explore like a cool field that I find interesting. I'll let Aman now talk about like Berkeley and like some cool experiences he's had there.
Yeah, hey everyone. Sorry, I just joined a little bit late. Yeah, it's been a really fun time here. So as Nikunj said, I'm here at Berkeley. I'm studying electrical engineering and computer science. So here, that's like one joint major. So it's pretty interesting. Like, we get a cool like foundation in like electrical engineering, which is like, we do like a lot of circuit work. Um, and right now I'm still like most of the lower division classes, so that's basically what we're doing, focusing on circuits. And then also a lot like the same lines as Nikunj with like the computer science stuff. So we're definitely both learning similar stuff, but it's pretty interesting because like we get a pretty like broad array of topics that we learn, and a lot of the classes we take are like of our own interest. Like we have a lot of choices in terms of like the classes we can take. So you can kind of go down a path of your interest, whatever suits you the most. Yeah. Was there anything else I was supposed to cover, Nikunj?
No, that's good. Just a brief introduction. Oh yeah, maybe just give an introduction about yourself and like kind of some stuff that you're interested in for the future.
Yeah, sweet. So, kind of brief introduction. Obviously, Nikunj said my name is Aman. And then this is my first year here at Berkeley. I took a gap year last year, so me and Nikunj are the same age, but I'm 1 year behind in school. And then I'm from the same hometown as Nikunj. We kind of grew up together, same high school, same a lot of same extracurriculars and activities. Um, and in terms of like kind of what I want to do in the future, I'm interested like in the startup space. Definitely want to have my own startup or continue working at startups. And I'm also interested in like robotics. So that's kind of why I'm pursuing like electrical engineering and computer science.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so that kind of brings us now to the like perfect segue to like the topic of what we wanted to discuss today, startups and entrepreneurship. So I know a lot of you guys are probably kind of trying to get into the job field right now and figure out how to like turn your studies and like your classes and your grades into like paying jobs. So we're also trying to figure that out actually, but we can tell you about a little bit of what we've explored so far and like some cool things that we think could help everyone out, whether it's you guys there in India or us here in the US. So a lot of the stuff that we've been paying attention to so far in college is a lot of like project building and like working on things like away from big companies and kind of just like doing it by ourselves. So this thing in the middle that you see here, so this is the logo of our app. It's called What's a Move, and we built it like last summer basically. And it was like a really cool project to learn about like the entire like how you have a tech stack, right? From like the front end side to the back end side and everything that goes in between. Even like deploying the app onto like the Apple App Store that you guys can like download on your phones right now. It was like a really cool experience for us. So that honestly taught me a lot more than maybe working at like a company that builds an app, because you got to see the full side of it. We've also been involved in Vex robotics since like middle school and high school, which taught us a lot of the fundamentals of like engineering and like doing that by ourselves, and like actually learning like how you can build different mechanical like fundamentals or how you can even do simple coding and like wiring and electrical like harnesses basically on a robot. Um, so this right here, this picture in the top left corner is a picture like the IoT lab that I work at. So I just put that in there because that's another cool thing that I've been doing this semester. Like we're setting up a new like makerspace and lab at U of I, which is where any student can go and just like build stuff. So there's like soldering stations, 3D printers. There's a bunch of like metal and laser cutters and stuff, different like tools. So if anybody has a project idea, then everything is basically sponsored by the school. You get all the parts you need, all the 3D printer filament or whatever, and you can just go there and just build stuff. So I feel like that's a really cool thing. If one of you maybe want to take that initiative and build the same thing in your college, I think that would be really cool. This right here is the logo of Y Combinator. So like me and Aman have both worked at different startups. But so I had the opportunity to intern at like a Y Combinator startup. And I put this here because if you guys are kind of interested in like getting internships or looking for jobs, I think a YC is a great place to get started. You guys can go on the website and kind of you can just search up like internships at Y Combinator. And when you search that up, it'll give a full list of like startups that are from YC. And like for some context, YC is a startup incubator in Silicon Valley, and it's like really reputed. Like a bunch of the big companies that you see today came out of Y Combinator, which was like a school for them. So a lot of the startups that are getting started from YC, they have really cool opportunities for you to learn and like look at the emerging technology, right? So if you guys are looking for some jobs or looking for some experience, then you can like look at the YC website, just search up Y Combinator, like I said, and you can find some cool opportunities for yourself. And the final kind of thing is like the emergence of like AI and machine learning that we've been exploring. That's something that's kind of like, I'm sure you guys hear that a lot in your classes and like just from people that are working around you. But that's another thing that we've kind of started to explore a little bit, and we're starting to talk to a lot more people about that. But yeah, those are just some of the cool projects and stuff that we've been involved in. But now we'd love to hear from you guys. Like if you guys have any
So
questions for us.
before we hear, so
Yeah.
you talked about what you guys are doing, but what does it mean to start a startup or being an entrepreneur? What does it mean? Like, students who are thinking to not, um, most of student thinks about a job like internship and all that, but what does it mean like to go and just think outside the box that we want to start our own? Like, what do they need in themselves, right? In order to do this.
Yeah, Aman, you want to take that?
Yeah, for sure. I think kind of the big thing is really just you need an idea and a skill set. Like that's all you need. I mean, you don't need the skill set. You can develop the skill set, but if you have like some kind of insight into a industry, or if you have an idea, if you have like a project that you think, okay, if this app or invention was a real thing, it would really help the world. That's really all it takes. Like once you kind of have that idea, and then you just need to have the motivation to kind of follow up with it, follow through with it, and continue working on it. And it's like personally, I think it's a much better like projects like this, how Nikunj mentioned, are just a much better like use of time and like effort than just like someone else telling you, okay, you're an intern for our company, do this, do this, do this. But startups are really cool because you're the one making the decisions on almost everything. So I think that gives you like not only do you develop the skill set that other people kind of tell you to develop, you develop like a skill set that of like things that you find the most interesting. And ultimately, you want to work in fields where you're going to be interested and engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's kind of a big reason why startups are really cool. And
And
mainly it just like it gives you freedom to really explore like whatever you're interested in.
and
Sorry,
can
what
you
were you saying, Uncle?
provide some examples, Nikunj, like or Aman, you like just like some examples like that you see like they started as a startup and they are so successful now. There are many, but if you can name some so to inspire to inspire the students.
Yeah, I can take that. So I think like specifically, so our like just for context with the startup that we made, it's an app that is on the App Store, and the whole point is to help college students connect with other college students in terms of like going out at night, like for nightlife. And it tells where your friends are at, where the best bars are at, where anything you would want to do at night. And like we the whole I guess the whole process we had with this was really this was a problem that we ourselves experienced, and we were like, okay, now how do we solve this? How do we solve this problem? So like that initial like problem solving idea, that was like already a huge skill that we learned in itself. And then once we kind of decided that we found this problem, then we had to go out do some market research. We had to go and learn how to develop an app. That was probably the biggest one in terms of technical skills. And then we had to learn how do we pitch this to other people? How do we pitch this to customers? All of that kind of stuff is things that you may or may not get through an internship, but this is something that we really like developed through a startup, which I think was definitely an awesome experience.
Yeah, for sure. One cool startup that like I'll mention that like you guys may be using right now and may like see in everyday life is Instagram. So Instagram had a really cool story. It started out as a photo editing app. So the creators of Instagram found so we've taken a bunch of business classes, and the one core thing they talk about for startups is you need to have a problem, right? Like I'm just saying, you need the idea, that problem to get started. And what the founders of Instagram had was they didn't have a great app where they could edit photos. So they started that app, and they had a core user base. And from there, what they did is they decided to start iterating so they could get even more users. So I think if you guys ever get started with your own startups, you ever have an idea, just start with something really small. Like you don't even have to maybe code or build anything. Just see if you can solve that problem just using the things around you, right? And once you can solve that problem for a small group of people, now you can start scaling and expanding. So what Instagram started doing then is they started seeing that, hey, their core user base would like to share photos with each other. So they started doing that. And now you see Instagram as the #1 social media app everywhere. Everyone posts on it. Everyone communicates with each other on it, and it's just a huge conglomerate, which got bought by Facebook.
Yeah,
And had,
so I think the
yeah,
learning is that if you have idea and if you see any um if you see any use case outside in the world, like day-to-day things, right? Hey, this thing can be automated, or this thing, how about we put technology for this, and this thing can be like amplified. So and then if you know coding, you can start doing things like on a very small scale and see it functioning and see your own product coming up, like your own baby, like kind of sort of walking slowly as you develop it. That's a startup, right? And if you, the idea is really great and you keep on, like, kind of adding the features into it, it can one day become a real product that can solve some problems, but also it can change the way we think and the way we operate. I think that's like, I just wanted to kind of relate what does it mean.
Yeah.
And the entrepreneurial skills are nothing but like thinking outside the box and thinking how you can change the world, how can you create your own something that is your product. You're working for yourself, and you are like trying to surface your ideas on the real, and you're turning them into reality. With that, let's see, like, if you have questions on this topic, or if you have questions like for the students that are here.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Sir, can you repeat the question that you have asked earlier?
Yeah. Yeah. I was just asking you guys, like, what's your favorite class in college right now?
Class or subject? Like,
Yeah, subject class.
sir, on my point of view, sir, I like coding much. So, as this is robotics field that you were explaining earlier. So, I want to know that what are the fields in which we can work, like using codes and all. So, can you please explain it?
Yeah, sure. So wait, let me just repeat the question again, and you can tell me if I got it right. So you're asking, what are some fields or industries where you can work with coding? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Aman, you want to start?
Yeah, for sure. I think first and foremost, like one of the most common ones is definitely like with app development or even website development. Any kind of like really like this is like software engineering, software design. And I think that these are like like just the most simplest thing is that you can do is even like there's like I don't know, platforms like Fiverr, Upwork. These are platforms where anyone, like any kind of freelance worker, can just go on there. They can, like basically sell their what do you call it, services, so that way anyone who wants to develop any kind of app or web develop or app or website is able to they'll just basically hire you as a short-term freelancer. You could work at a lot of the bigger companies, Instagram, Apple, Facebook. A lot of these ones, they have a lot of engineers, just to maintain like the app that they own. And a lot of the biggest companies these days are really apps. So there's a lot of like, I guess, area to work in there. And then another one is like definitely with AI. So this is more like if you're kind of interested in the startup culture and stuff, I would definitely look into AI and stuff a lot, because like a lot of the companies that are being funded now today and probably in the future are like based in AI and some kind of AI type of application. So those are definitely like kind of on the come up. Do you have anything, Kunj?
Yeah, yeah. I was just gonna say, like, the Fiverr thing was perfect. If you guys just search up Fiverr, then you can like literally sell your services to any clients that want to use like your experiences. But on top of that, I'd say to actually develop that skill set, I think you guys should just honestly start with just projects, so you can like make sure that you have those skills to help people. So even if you don't have your own computer, you could go use your school's computers. You could go to like cafes or something that have like free Wi-Fi and computers and stuff, and just start building like small things. Like maybe you can start like as a small chat bot that you create. Maybe you can create your own website using React. Maybe you can create like a small game with C++. But I think the important thing is getting started with projects so you can understand what your skills are and how you can use them. Does anyone else have any other questions or something? Hmm.
Maybe if there's no questions right now, a couple of like recommendations or something I would have. Uh, with the projects, it's really hard to get started sometimes. So I think a couple things that I would recommend is like, anytime you have an idea for a project or anything you would think is interesting, just like write it down. I think like, like at least me personally, I have like list of like 100 different like business ideas on my phone, and a lot of them are complete garbage. But like I think just the idea of just kind of keeping the creativity and like keeping these projects on the front of your mind always is something good to do. And then also when you decide you want to do a project, like the internet is such a gold mine of information. If you guys, I don't know if you guys have heard of like edX, which is like it's like a platform where you can basically learn like if you decide one day you want to learn about AI, or one day you want to learn Python, or you want to learn new coding language, whatever you want to learn. It's like a really good edX is a really good spot to do that. So I think that if you go online and do a lot of these tutorials, just basically just building your skill set out is probably kind of one of the best things you can do right now.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's ask them like what project they have in their mind, if anything is coming, just like as we are talking. So anyone wanna come up and just wanna tell like what project they have in their mind?
Yeah, like any cool ideas or
Yeah.
like things you built
You can
already.
speak from there. I don't know, the voice will come. बोल के देखो वहां से आवाज आती है क्या?
I think it's muted again though.
Okay. So anyone wanna come and tell like what project they have in mind, or you wanna ask any other question? Come on. You want to make it very interactive, right? If you will ask question, then you will know more.
Sir, there is one more
और आप
question
हिंदी
from
में भी पूछ सकते हो अगर आपको पूछना है. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, we all understand Hindi and English both. Mm-hmm.
No, it's okay, sir. Sir, my question is that, sir, if I have to start my career in robotics field, so is it better to go with Arduino coding, or is there any other coding platform that I can prefer?
Wait, can you repeat the question again?
Sorry, sir.
Can you repeat the question again?
Sir, I was asking that if I have to kickstart my career in robotics field, can I go with Arduino code codings and all, or I should start with something else that is new in market, like new technologies and all?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Aman, you want to go into robotics, right? So you got it.
Can you
Sorry,
repeat the question, Nikunj? I think then you can answer.
yeah,
Why don't you
I
answer?
Oh yeah,
get the end
yeah,
of it.
sure. Yeah, so I'll repeat the question. Just let me know if I got it right. So you're saying you want to go in the robotics field, and you want to know like, is there any like coding language that you should like get started in and like build your skills in, or like if there's any other way to get into the robotics field? Was that correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I think that the robotics field is still pretty wide. There's a lot of there's like the software aspect and then the hardware aspect. If you're for the software aspect, like the robotics that we've done up to this point, so we use C++ was one of the languages. A lot of robotics is also done in Python as well. Python is generally like a universal language, like really for all types of applications. So if you're just starting and you kind of want to go into something, I think Python is definitely a good place to start because it's pretty applicable to almost everything. So I think those are two important languages. In terms of other ways to get started, I think just using online resources, if like edX is one, and then if you have access to I'm not sure exactly what the situation is, but if you have access to any kind of like mechanical parts, like microcontrollers, Arduinos, those are another really good spot to start kind of on the hardware side, because you get a good like fundamental understanding of like how electronic systems works. Are you more interested in like the software side or the hardware side, I guess is a question.
I think he was asking more on the software, like which languages he can
Mhm.
use for the robotics. Yeah, like which one are like that can be like useful, or would be like a kickstart.
Yeah. I think on the software side, definitely like C++ and Python are probably the two that I think are. What do you guys think? That's
I
probably
think
the
last
most.
time I also like I told them we had with the same school that Python is something that you can use for anything, right? It's such an easy language,
Mhm.
and it is like it is easy to code, easy to understand, and unless you go into like really advanced sort of topics, it's like, and it can be used for data integration, parsing a file, for, like as you just mentioned, for the automation and all that. So um, even like you can use it for advanced data processing as well. So there are, that language can like be very useful if you are like really puzzled like which language you want to make your career in. Like it's a good kind of like a prototype to start with, in my view.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say get started with Python. But like Aman was saying, I think a big thing if you want to go into robotics is like Arduino and Raspberry Pis. You guys should like talk to your professors at your college to see if they would like buy some for
Mhm.
like for projects and like experimentation with the students. Because those are pretty small devices that aren't that expensive compared to other robotics devices in the world. But you can connect like a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino to a simple motor and
So
see
go
that
slow,
it work.
go slow. Raspberry Pi, and then what was the other one?
Arduino.
Arduino. Okay.
Yeah. So
So
those are two
Mhm.
devices that are basically microcontrollers. Okay. So you can connect those to your computer, and then from there you can connect them to motors and devices. So you can they have like inbuilt thermometers and stuff. So a Raspberry Pi is nice because it comes with an inbuilt Linux CPU. So you could literally write code on the Raspberry Pi in simple Python, and you could make a simple like temperature detecting software and have it show up on your computer at all times, right? And show and tell you what the temperature is. You could make like a communication platform where where using the Raspberry Pi, you're sending simple messages to like other computers around you, and you could see it literally pop up from your Raspberry Pi to your computer. So I think those are like two small projects that you could get started on, and that can kind of help you understand like robotics and hardware stuff more, I'd say.
I
okay.
think
Hmm.
if you guys want some inspiration, this is it's a little blurry, but here's a robotic car that we've been making in one of my classes. But
So
it's like it's very simple. You just like
if
if
you
you have
unblur
battery,
your, if you
yeah, let me do that.
if you
How do
remove
you
the
do that?
blur, yeah, option, then you can show it.
Um,
Other I'll have to show my robot.
oh, here I found it. There we go. You can see
Oh,
it.
great. You still
It's pretty simple.
still
Yeah,
building them there? Nice.
yeah. Still, yeah. It's funny. But it's pretty simple. All you need is a couple of motors, wheels, and batteries. And you can kind of put together something that's like it's cool. It's like a voice activated car. Where you can tell it to go forward, tell it to go backward, and it'll listen to whatever you tell it to do. Um, but even like simple projects like that. So like those are I guess some of the things we're working on here. If you can talk to your professors about doing similar projects, like there's so many resources online that you'll be able
Yeah.
to kind of use in order to build them. It's also like kind of fun project um, to do.
Yeah, maybe you can also contact me and I can connect you with these two folks.
Yeah.
And next time you can tell the story if you're able to build something your own, right? I mean, that is how we learn, and we quickly adapt, and we kind of make progress. So I think we are at time. Is there any other question do you have? Yeah.
Actually, sir, what are the key points or the prerequisites that one should have to join this domain?
Okay, so the question was, what are some key points or prerequisites that you should know to enter the robotics field? Yeah, I'd say some prerequisite skills for the robotics field is firstly just knowing how you can make so like I'm gonna show an example of like a battery and a motor connected to a breadboard, right? I think the first step there is understanding how that motor actually works. So maybe the first project that you do, which you may already know how to do, but maybe just for the sake of it, just take a simple 9-volt battery, take a motor that you can find almost anywhere, and connect the battery to the electric motor, right? I think seeing something move can help your understanding of the process. And then from there, you can start building even bigger things from that. So you can start then connecting it to more code stuff. You can start like building even bigger things. But I think the start would honestly be like a starting prerequisite, I think, for you guys for the robotics field would be just get an electric motor or some electric parts and connect them to batteries and see how they work. I think that would be really good for your learning.
Yeah, I think kind of following up with that, I think even if you like in terms of more like what you can do in school, taking a lot of like I don't know if like if mechanical engineering, if you guys have a lot of like subjects within that and stuff, but if you know that's like a really good spot to start kind of on the hardware side with robotics. And then honestly, so even like the software side that's probably easier to learn on your own because you can just, you know, there's online resources for that. But I think that really like, you know, robotics just comes down to just the hardware and the code, right? So if you have a good foundation in whichever one that you're more interested in, or both as well is even better. I think that's a really good way to go.
Yeah. I think as we end here, the biggest thing that we're kind of talking about is like getting started on projects. People aren't going to force you to do projects, and they're not going to really teach you to make projects unless you're actually asking for it, right? If you can go up to your professors and just tell them that, hey, I'm interested in making this car, or I'm interested in making this project, and I have this idea, they'll be a lot more willing to help you and get you the resources to get you that, right? So I think the one key takeaway you guys should have from this, if anything, is just try to build something and ask people around you if they would help you with it. I think if you can do that, then you can learn a lot more skills and you can be a lot more prepped and ready for whatever's after college.
Okay, great. I mean, thank you. All the students from Rustamji Institute of Technology, and also thank you, Aman and Nikunj, for spending your time. We'll end here.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Hope you guys get anything out of it. Yeah, and if you can share our contact and stuff as well if they have follow-up questions in the next few days or whatever.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay,
good.
bye-bye,
Alright.
everyone.
Bye-bye.